Good day, citizens of the world. We are Halifax Anonymous, Hemp Sector. We yet again bring you another gross injustice by the RCMP. On September 5th, 2015, Robert Roy was traumatized by the Annapolis Valley RCMP when they chose to raid his home with accusations of marijuana cultivation for the purpose of trafficking. A few days prior, Rob Roy had been driving home when a deer jumped in front of his car. The next evening, an officer showed up at Rob Roy's home to get information about the deer that hit his car. Rob had just harvested his medicinal crop and had it hanging to dry. We can only assume the officer had smelled the plants drying inside the home, which was why they decided to take further action. They then returned a day later, kicked in his door, held a gun to his dogs while they destroyed his home, destroyed his medicinal marijuana garden, and stole the remainder of his medication. Rob continues to suffer from PTSD from this experience, as one would expect. The next day, Rob tried to file a pre-plea quash kit. However, when he went to the courthouse, he was told they had no records on file for him. Rob has been in contact with the RCMP and the court since the raid, which was almost 2 months ago. Even now, there still has yet to be any paperwork filed against him in the court system. Rob has been very vocal and proactive in letting people know this is unjust. Not only is Rob covered under the legal battle taking place in BC, led by John Conroy, but he also has his own self-represented challenge happening. Rob Roy has taken his case all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada to fight for his rights to keep his medical marijuana and his garden. Had the judge who issued the search warrant dug a little deeper into his file, they could have noted that he is already in the court system. Why even bother wasting additional taxpayer funds on another court case? Rob is an active member of the Maritimes Unite for Medical Marijuana, MUM. MUM members, Rob and his support team, arranged a meeting with Leo Glavin, the Minister of Health for Nova Scotia. During that meeting, they made it very clear to Leo that it is unnatural for the RCMP to target sick patients and persecute them over their choice of natural healing for their bodies. Leo Glavin had actually commissioned Rob's documents that were filed with the Federal and Supreme Courts of Canada, in which Rob was fighting for his right to continue possessing his choice of medication. Technically, under Section 262 of the Criminal Code, anyone who prevents or attempts to impede access to life-saving medication can face up to 10 years in jail. Robert Roy was a Health Canada-approved patient under the MMR program, which allowed him to grow and consume his medical marijuana legally. The program was changed over to the MMPR in April of 2014. With the new program, Health Canada tried to force all patients to give up their rights to grow their own medication and force them to purchase their medication only from Health Canada-approved greedy corporate licensed producers. A court challenge was implemented on behalf of the patients who did not want to give up their rights. Not only were most patients unable to afford the greedy corporate prices, they also lost the therapeutic benefits of tending to their own gardens and knowing exactly how their medication were grown. Justice Manson issued an order stating that an injunction would be implemented until a resolution was found within the courts. Justice Manson decided to play doctor and chose a date of September 21st, 2013 for patients to be covered under the injunction. This meant that anyone who did not have a possession or grow license that was valid as of September 21st, 2013 was now in jeopardy of being arrested. Justice Manson admitted to choosing that date, knowing that it would place a significant number of patients in jeopardy of being arrested. He chose to support the new greedy corporate licensed producers, as opposed to the sick patients, just trying to live to see another day. Health Canada was taking up to 6 months to complete renewals for patients, as opposed to the typical few weeks for processing. Rob Roy's possession license expired on September 18, 2013, simply 3 days prior to Justice Manson's cut-off date. Rob's license for cultivation, however, was still valid according to the dates that were imposed. How can one hold a license to grow but then not be allowed to be in possession of what they grew? Kinda like the rest of Canadians' laws. You can sell, but not buy? That's another story. Robert Roy is not the only patient who falls into this category. There are 18,000 other medical marijuana patients that are affected by Justice Manson choosing such a random date for the injunction exemptees. Those 18,000 patients are still suffering from the conditions for which they were prescribed medical marijuana to start with, but now they are in jeopardy of being raided and traumatized, just as Rob Roy was. We as a collective of cannabis activists do not accept this. Where is the logic in subjecting patients to this type of trauma, simply because they choose to treat their ailments with a plant? The charges against Rob Roy and the court time that will ensue are a waste of taxpayer resources that could have been more wisely spent than on persecuting sick patients. As in James MacDonald, Bob Dillman's $60,000 they wasted on Bob Dillman's case alone, and now Rob Roy's, and many others just like them. These charges should be dropped. Health Canada and the RCMP need to be more lenient when dealing with sick patients. If the RCMP had contacted Health Canada, they would have known that there was a license that had been issued to Rob for his medical conditions. Even though his possession license was expired due to the dates imposed by the injunction. This does not mean his ailments no longer existed. Had the RCMP contacted Health Canada and were informed of this information, the fact that they chose to act, regardless of being aware that he was using the marijuana to treat his pain, speaks volumes on whether or not the RCMP are actually in place to serve and protect the people of this country. When they raided Rob's home, destroyed his possessions and stole his medication, they were actually placing him and his dogs in jeopardy, and caused needless stress and trauma. On October 5, 2015, Halifax anonymous hemp sector Maritimers unite for medical marijuana, and many supporters will stand in solidarity with Rob Roy while he goes for fingerprinting at the Kingston RCMP detachment at 8 o'clock and followed by his court date at the Annapolis Valley Courthouse for 9:30. We are anonymous hemp sector. We are legion. United as one. Divided by zero. We do not forgive. We do not forget. To the RCMP, when you continue arrest sick patients, you should have expected us.
We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.